Okay, we're on to some movies. One of my favorite all-time movies, and I'm going to talk about it here. In 1982, I went to the theater one night with my father. He used to take me to the best movies. I was really lucky. And one night we went to see this movie. I had no idea what it was going to be. I had no idea what it was. Time Bandits. It blew my mind, and it's about a boy who gets up with these bandits, and they steal a map from God, and they start going this gigantic quest through time and space, stealing money and artifacts. It is fucking awesome, by Terry Gilliam. I love Terry Gilliam. I love his films. Let me say, Brazil and The Adventures of Baron Munchausen. Huge fan. Let me tell you, huge fan. But they've released a Blu-ray Criterion Collection that Terry Gilliam has signed off on. He loves, he agrees with it. That's everything to me. I used to have the old Blu-ray, and it looked okay. But this, if you want to watch Time Bandits, is the way to go. It's been remastered. A couple of new special features in there. Criterion has always been one of the best companies for taking older movies, classic movies, updating them, making them look better. It's the Criterion Collection. It's always been that good. It has a really wonderful name brand for a reason. We trust Criterion for sure. So, love this. Love this. Me and Kim watched it years ago on Blu-ray, and we liked it then. Can't wait to watch it again. I watched a little bit of it just to see what the picture was like. It's really nice. It's the best it's ever going to look. And I tell you, as a kid, this movie captured my imagination like nothing else. And a high recommendation for it. Now, here's something weird. This is... I don't recommend this because I think it's an older cartoon. And it is a cartoon from a different time. And... but it's, for me... this is something just personal for me. A very nostalgic movie from my early childhood. Like, I don't even know how old I was. It must have been like 1981, 82, somewhere in there. It's around that time. It's just that old school of a movie. And the movie is called Watership Down, and I picked this up on Blu-ray. I haven't seen it since I was a kid. I can't really remember the year that this came out, but it's really an older style. Oh, 1978, so it would have been around maybe 79, 80. It got released in theaters. Oh, it is a weird film. It's called Watership Down. It's based on a book, and it's about these rabbits that have to leave their nest, and they talk to each other, obviously. Well, I guess it would be rabbit language. This is not holding well for me, is it? But they go on this massive quest from their burrow to find a new place to live. Simple story, and it's about all the things that happen to them along the way, and it's kind of brutal. Some of the things that happen in this movie are fucking brutal for kids. It's one of those things that I appreciated that they did in the late 70s, early 80s. They made a lot of things, cartoons and stuff like that, but for kids that were brutal. They didn't care back then. Now they're all fucking politically correct and, oh, don't scare the children. Back then, this movie scared the shit out of me. This movie would bother me intensely as being a young kid. It bothered me a lot. And it left a massive psychological impression on me. Whenever I saw the covers, like, oh my god, that movie is disturbing. And I think my parents let me watch it. Like, oh, it's a cartoon. It's no big deal with talking rabbits. But there's some brutal stuff in it. Like some rabbit getting strangled to death and in blood and stuff like that. And as a kid, I was like, oh! And these rabbits having these like hallucinatory dreams about, getting buried alive. It's fucked up shit, man. It's for a kid. As an adult, and I watched it with Kim, and it was like, oh, this is a very weird movie, but it was very nostalgic to watch, and Kim quite enjoyed it. She thought it was quite cool to watch, and she enjoyed the story of it, and it is from a different era, so the animation is not up to standards of today, obviously, but that's okay. That's okay. It does the job, and yeah, I don't know why I went on so long about Watership Down, but yeah, this is just something so crazy from my childhood. It was like, oh my god, and I got a chance to watch it again. Crazy. Something I haven't watched yet, I've never talked about it. I do like Star Trek quite a lot, and I love Star Trek The Next Generation, but I like the later seasons more. And my favorite episode ever of Star Trek The Next Generation was the last two-parter. I remember my friend Andrew's down the street and it was on, the first part. And I remember phoning him going, dude, are you watching this? Because this is when he talked on the phone. He didn't you didn't text each other. Oh my God, man, you watch this? And I remember talking to him over the phone. We were both so blown away. And it's Star Trek The Next Generation, the last episodes, All Good Things. With Q and Picard going through time. And man, I got a little bit of shivers about it because it's so older now. But I mean, it just blew my mind. And I downloaded this episode years ago just so I could watch it again. And it blew my mind again. I was like, this is really great stuff. I really was enjoying it a lot. It's such a great Star Trek episode. It really, it was the best way they could have ended The Next Generation was with this. It has the most wonderful ending, but the entire story of Picard going through time, having to solve things in all these different time periods was awesome. You get to see all the different time periods, and I don't think you could have made a better ending episode to a TV series, a popular science fiction TV series, than this. I think they tied it up wonderfully. Like, top props to these guys back in the day for making this, and I cannot wait to watch this. And Kim's never seen it. I don't know if she's a huge Star Trek The Next Generation fan. I've shown her the Star Trek movies, the old school movies with William Shatner, like Star Trek II: The Wrath of Khan, all that stuff, and she really liked those movies. So I think we'll watch this together one night. It's really good stuff. So I've been haunted since last year. I bought the Stick of Truth, and I played a few hours in, and then all of a sudden, you know how it happens. You just stop, you move on to other things. It happens. And I was always so mad at myself that I stopped playing Stick of Truth. I'm like, oh my God, a South Park RPG, and I was loving it. I thought it was brilliantly done. So I said, fuck this shit. And once in a while I do this. It's not because the game's hard or anything. I do it to get myself back on track. And I did it for Kim as well. I bought the South Park Stick of Truth strategy guide. And the reason why I did this thing, okay, this is serious. We're doing this. And me and Kim played through the whole thing. And oh my God, I've never had a chance to talk about South Park, the Stick of Truth. And I'm going to spend this little bit of a moment doing it. It was fucking excellent. Let me tell you, it is like a South Park movie that you interact with, that you're a part of, that you're part of the story, and it is wonderful. It is hilarious. Let me say, it is hilarious. And I remember saying to Kim, we're playing it, I'm like, I can't believe that they did this. I can't believe how could they ever outdo this? And they did such a great job. My only negative, the combat is clunky. I think I said that back then. And all the way to the end, the combat is a little bit clunky. That could have been something a little bit more refined. But overall, the story and some of the crazy stuff that happens in this storyline, I can't tell you some of the stuff that happens. I don't want to tell you some of the stuff that happens. I want you to experience it. If you're a fan of South Park and you haven't played this game, it is an RPG. You're in the South Park world. You have to do it. You have to experience some of the things in this game. I would almost say you're not a South Park fan if you don't play this game, because you'll get so much out of it. You will love it. It is funny shit. I have never in a long time had so much fun playing a game. We would sit on the couch and we were laughing, going, oh my God, I can't believe they got away with this. I can't believe that we're doing this. And I don't want to say it. You know what I mean. Anybody who's played the game to the end, oh my God, that Christmas song, you know what I mean by that. So yeah, I don't want to give any of it away, and I don't want to show any of the really hardcore stuff in it, but oh my God. Look at this. So this is the map that came with it. And this is one of the reasons why sometimes it is cool to buy a strategy guide. I love hand maps like this, and we used the map a few times. Quite a few times. Well, oh yeah, we're over here, we need to go over here, and you have a map in the game itself, but sometimes a hand map is really awesome to have, so very cool. South Park, what a wonderful game, I'm telling you. You gotta check it out. Okay, last but certainly not least is a couple of books. And when I was away on vacation, I bought a couple of books to take with me. And one thing I know you guys don't know about me is that I don't get a lot of time to read. You know, I get a lot of time to read the internet, but I don't have a lot of time just to sit around and do my own thing, working full time and trying to do the show, and you know, having, you know, balancing a relationship and all these great things. It's quite a lot into itself right there. I never had considered the couch to go, oh, I'm gonna read. I really try to a lot of times, but I never get a chance to do it as much. Where I really wanted to read this, and this is a graphic novel. It's called The Star Wars. It is based on George Lucas's original rough draft script for Star Wars. It used to be called The Star Wars. What can I say about this? Oh man, first of all, let me show you some of the artwork. The artwork in here is awesome. And a lot of it's based on Ralph McQuarrie's old artwork that he did for the original Star Wars. So a lot of the original concepts of what R2-D2 and C-3PO was supposed to be, the artist in this is taken from Ralph's drawings and incorporated into the comic. And let me say, from an artist, I'll get to the story in a sec, the artistic vision on here that they put together is second to none. They researched how to do, you know, a lot of the ships to make them look old school, taking things that were in Star Wars and bringing them back, giving it a really retro feel. I could spend an hour talking about the artwork alone and what a great job they did of taking Rolf's drawings, taking the original script, taking what's already been established and making it into a graphic novel. And I think doing an outstanding job. I love this guy's artwork. I've never seen his artwork before, but it is really nice stuff. Let me find out his art. Mike Mayhew and Rain Burrito. He did the colors. Great job, guys. Oh, and Nick Hunge did the artwork. I would love a poster of this artwork because it's great, like a full movie style poster of it. So, what are we looking at here? What's George Lucas's original script all about? I sat and read this in 3 sittings. It's a really different Star Wars, let me tell you. It's really different. So we have the Jedi Bendu. That's the name of the Jedi in the story, and they're almost extinct. There's not many of them left. Kind of like where the New Hope starts. So you can see a lot of similarities. There's the Rebels, led by Luke Skywalker to begin with. And he's an older guy. He's an older guy with a beard, and he's like a general. And it's really weird to see this is Luke Skywalker. And who comes to him but Kane Starkiller and his son Anakin Skywalker. And they're Jedi Bendu as well. It is really weird. Leia's in there, and she has 2 younger brothers. And Darth Vader's in there, but he doesn't wear a mask. The Sith are in there, but they're not. They're more of a helping hand to the Empire. It's really, they're a different entity altogether. It's even Darth Vader's a different. He's just a guy wearing so he looks like Darth Vader from down below, but he's not wearing the headpiece. He doesn't need to. He's just a dude. And also, everybody, including stormtroopers, everybody uses lightsabers. But the Jedi Bendu obviously are better at it, and so are the Sith. Han Solo is a green monster, which is very unusual. Chewbacca looks very different, and we find Chewbacca on the Wookiee planet, and they've all been enslaved by the Empire, pretty much, and it's kind of the same story. And the Death Star type of device travels through space. It's a moving space station. And C-3PO and R2-D2, I'm going to go this from memory. The interesting thing about them is they originally were part of the Empire, and they escaped on an escape pod, and then they're found on the planet they're found by Kane Starkiller and Anakin on the planet. But R2-D2 has a normal voice, so he's like, "Hey guys, how you doing?" It's really weird. You're like, wow. And some of it is. Oh, and here's another huge thing. Here's another thing I gotta say. It's not "May the Force be with you." In the original script, it's "May the Force of others be with you." And it's so weird. They say it so many times in the graphic novel. You're like, "May the Force of others be with you." And it's really strange stuff. And it's It's a very different Star Wars, as I was about to say. You can see the foundations. There's so many bits that are almost exactly the same as Star Wars, but there's so many bits that are not. I think as a Star Wars fan reading this, checking out the artwork, wonderful experience. But if they had made this into a movie, it'd be too long and boring, and it doesn't have the same spark as Star Wars. I like the way it all finally got rearranged into Star Wars. I love Star Wars. I love the original movie. So, you know, A New Hope. It's such a weird thing, but you have to read this. If you're a Star Wars fan, you have to read this to see the alternative of what Star Wars was originally meant to be. It'll fuck you up. It did me. But it was a really enjoyable read. I can't say enough, and they did a great job on this book. Love it. My final thing, and let me say, I'm a terrible person this ways, and I had never read the works of Terry Pratchett. Never. And being an old school guy as I am, I remember seeing his books Discworld, everywhere. Over the years, I've always seen it. And it's just one of those things that you just saw, you're like, oh, okay, this is a series. It's too big, I'm not getting involved in that. I just kind of was my mentality, and you know, I never got into it, and then he passed away, you know, recently in the past few months, and then I saw all this love for his books and for the man who he was, and I didn't know anything about the guy or anything, and I started reading this, and I was like, you know what, I'm going away, and I'm gonna pick up the first book. So I picked up the first book, The Color of Magic, that he wrote, I think in 1982-83. And I thought, okay, I'm going to give this a shot. And I sat down, you know, I started reading this book, and it's fucking fantastic stuff. I mean, anybody who loves 80s movies about fantasy needs to read this. This is The Color of Magic. This is the first book. And I'm exactly halfway through the book. I'm absolutely finishing it. I have to know how it stands. But in my mind, and maybe it's only in my mind, the way, because we all interpret books differently, but I saw the movie in my mind. It was very dark, very medieval, very mysterious, very brutally and intense in a cool way. And there's a lot of humor in this, let me say. Very funny stuff, but very, very, very dark and very atmospheric. And I mean, I'm on the edge of my seat reading this book. It's like a great 80s fantasy movie, and I would really love to see this made into a movie. Now, I went onto YouTube and I typed in The Color of Magic 2000, movie, just to see if anybody has some information about that. And they did make a 2009 movie, and I watched about 5 minutes of it and I turned it off because I was like, oh my god, it's not very good. It was not what I had in my mind after reading this rich work. I was imagining all these cool things in the opening city, all this kind of stuff. And I saw the movie and it's all brightly lit, and it just looked like a children's movie, and I'm like, no, it's not supposed to be this way. It's gotta be the way it is in my mind. And yeah, I recommend this. I'm really gonna get into this guy's books. He's written like 73 books over the years, you know, like, and I saw some interviews by the guy, and he's a really cool guy, man. I mean, like, so articulate, so humorous, so intelligent. And Terry Pratchett, I'm sorry that I've never read your books ahead of time, but I'm definitely reading them now, and I think they're wonderful. So anyways, guys, we're at the end of another new Game Stuff episode, and I still need to go back and spend some more time with some of the games I've been playing here, because they're just wonderful. Bloodborne is in the future, but I need to get some of this stuff done first before I move on. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this episode. Until next time.